Chapter 9:11. You want to become my enemy relying on your family? The Lien family had it easy in the brutal fighting in Green Lake Agricola as they only had 4 casualties and only 5 men injured, in contrast to the tremendous losses suffered by the Song Dong Lai, Ao Wei, and Gong Quan, who lost a lot of men. The number might be on their side, but their strength was generally too weak. In addition to that, more than 20 rebels under Boss Huang were just ordinary people without much combat power either. Even though they formed 3 groups, the 3 elite experts of Lien family just maniacally slaughtered them. Excluding the scar-faced big man, the rest of them were killed in just a few minutes. Hiss, hiss. The Kruer python itself was being ganged up on by Lien Wentian and Lien Wenxin, having been badly battered by their barrage of attacks. Its blood-colored body was rolling and now trying to escape towards the lake. However, the black bottle that floated in the air unleashed a strong suction force and continuously released a gray-blackish mist, pulling all the souls of the killed humans' bodies under it, swallowing into the 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer. Lien Bai, the patriarch of Lien family, had also reached the martial arts grandmaster level and was quite formidable himself, even though his cultivation had yet to reach the new realm. After he brandished his saber to slash a man wearing a bronze mask and forced him back, he shouted sternly, "Who are you? Your strength is on par with Song Donglai, Ao Wei, and Gong Quan. You're absolutely not their man. Ask the king of hell after you die." Han Sen's wushu suit was rustling, and his crazy killing intent was locked on Lien Bai. Their strength was well matched and the short exchange of blows made them feel like their qi and blood were surging all over their body. "Humph, hiding your head and tail. What a shameful shit you are," grinned Lien Bai hideously. "Since you're seeking your death, don't blame me for being ruthless." Lien Bai brandished his saber right after he spoke, while his left hand quickly condensed a ball of fire. Along with his powerful strike, he threw the ball of fire that exploded into a blazing flame that stormed toward Han Sen. Elementalist. Han Sen's expression changed enormously. Just as he hastily moved to fend it off, the air behind him rippled as a dagger pierced his back all of a sudden. Damn it. Never once Han Sen dreamed that an assassin was hiding in the dark and had actually launched a sneak attack on him at this moment. A bit of despair filled his eyes, yet the madness inside him was raging more. Just as the dagger was piercing his heart, he threw himself toward the spot of the fluctuated air. "You want me to die? Then I'll drag you with me." Xiaoya had just appeared in the air as Han Sen appeared in front of him, sweeping his saber and leaving a long, deep bleeding wound. Xiaoya hadn't yet reached the martial arts grandmaster level. He was best at assassination. He literally didn't have enough time to avoid the strike of a martial art grandmaster powerhouse face to face. "Save me!" Xiaoya roared hurriedly. He could only pin his hopes on Lien Bai at this moment. If Lien Bai could kill Han Sen as quickly as possible, then he had a hope of living. Unfortunately, Han Sen knew that his heart was already pierced and realized that his death was imminent, so he ignored the attack from Lien Bai behind him. When the long blade in his hand beheaded Xiaoya, his back was also injured and left a 20+ centimeters long deep wound. A flame arrow then pierced Han Sen's body, causing his life force to elapse quickly. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and was hardly able to turn his head to glare at Lien Bai full of killing intent. "Pity that I can't drag you along to die with me." Likewise, Lien Bai was also seething with rage and killing intent. Xiaoya was killed, a feeling like he just had his right arm cut off, making him difficult to breathe and feel distressed. It must be noted that Xiaoya was very young. Even if he hadn't yet broken through the martial arts grandmaster level, he would probably be able to reach it in the future. He was a martial art genius, but he was killed just like that. Lien Bai truly couldn't wait to hack Han Sen into pieces. But instead of continuing to attack, he stood a few meters away from him and spoke in a heavy voice. "Do you want to die that badly? Did you not see what my ancestors have brought here? I tell you now. That's the 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer, an object that can devour human soul, transforming it into a resentful wraith and eternally trapping it inside the streamer. Just wait. You'll struggle in endless pain soon, while your soul would scatter along with the destruction of the 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer someday in the future. Han Sen's pale face only responded to his threat with contempt. He never believed of the existence of ghosts in this world. What souls and resentful spirits? All those were nothing but a damn unfunny joke. Humph. A deep, yet chilling snort was heard. Han Sen was slightly shaken with a look of horror on his face. Even though he felt thankful for the rapid loss of his life force, he could still clearly see the fear on Lian Bai's face before him. The previously arrogant Lian Bai was now being grabbed on his neck by a young man behind him. Tang Xiu indifferently glanced around before his eyes fell on Han Sen and he lightly spoke, "What he said is true. Had I not intervened, your soul would have been imprisoned. You'd suffer the cruelest torture all day and night until your body completely disappeared. Then your soul would have turned into a resentful energy, the so-called resentful spirit. Once you get into such a situation, you will forever be unable to reincarnate. Just another form of a soul disappearing into nothingness." "Who are you?" shouted Lian Bai with a look full of fear after his neck was grabbed by Tang Xiu. "Humph." Tang Xiu coldly snorted at him and asked, "Are you the patriarch of the Lian family?" "I am," answered Lian Bai quickly. "Let me go, otherwise you'll become the enemy of my family. My 2 ancestors are here as well, and they are very strong." "Just 2 ants who have reached Qi refining stage, yet you call them very formidable?" Tang Xiu mocked him. "Truly a frog who looks at the sky from the bottom of a well. Your knowledge is too shallow." During his talk, 2 of the elite experts from the Lian family blitzed over since they saw that Tang Xiu didn't look back and slashed their sabers to cleave Tang Xiu from behind. "Die." Tang Xiu moved away lightning fast. As he appeared in an empty spot 2 meters away, his thoughts moved and dozens of electric sparks appeared out of thin air, shooting forward like arrows toward the 2 men's vital points, directly killing them. Lian Bai, whose neck was still being grabbed by Tang Xiu, could only helplessly watch his 2 families' experts meet their tragic death. His heart was as though falling into an ice hole, birthing deep dread and fear inside him. Even though they hadn't yet reached the level of martial arts grandmaster, they weren't that far from it, but this young man could use such an electric special ability to kill them easily. His power was definitely 10 times more powerful than the fire attribute special ability he possessed. "All of you, stop." Tang Xiu looked at the 2 Lian family's ancestors who had joined forces to kill the Kruer python and then looked around and shouted loudly. His deafening voice was like rolling waves that continuously transmitted in all directions. Hundreds of meters away from him, Song Donglai and Ao Wei, who both struggled to fend off the 4 experts in the Lian family's encirclement, had been besmeared by blood. Gong Quan, on the other hand, had been killed and laid on the ground nearby. What happened? The patriarch? Who is that? More than 10 experts of the Lian family stopped attacking and quickly gathered together. They looked at Tang Xiu as though they were facing a formidable enemy. But they couldn't help but be shaken inwardly upon seeing that their patriarch, Lian Bai, was actually caught by that person. Lian Wentian frowned and shouted, "Wenxin, deal with this Kruer python." After saying that, he flashed and instantly appeared 10 meters away from Tang Xiu. Then he asked in a heavy voice, "Speak your conditions." Tang Xiu just shot him a cold look and apathetically said, "Oh, grab that old fossil. And drag that Kruer python over to me." Affirmative. Moo, who had been following Tang Xiu in sprinting down from the hillside, dashed toward Lian Wenxing like a lightning bolt and appeared in front of the old man nearly in a flash, causing the latter to have a huge change in expression. Moo then delivered a heavy punch to his stomach and sent him flying backward. He closely tailed him and instantly imitated Tang Xiu's method in grabbing his neck. "Get down to me." There was no technique nor skill in the least, just a straight punch, as he once again bombarded the cruel python's body, causing it to let out shrill hissings. Moo slammed his feet and kicked it, causing it to fly backward. It then heavily fell to the ground 20 meters away in front of Tang Xiu. It struggled and hissed but was unable to move at all. So high-handed, and so powerful. Moo's show of strength made everyone present feel a chill down their spines. More so for the Lien family as their eyes turned wide open, bigger than a bronze bell, shocking them to the extreme and causing them to pace back subconsciously. Mr. Tang. At this time, those who felt joy and gratitude were none other than Song Donglai and Ao Wei. The duo had already noticed that Han Sen had been badly hit and injured, and it seemed that he wouldn't survive given his injuries. They thought that they wouldn't escape death here. They had never expected that Tang Xiu would act and deal with the situation all of a sudden. Tang Xiu only nodded to him in response. His left hand kept forming secret art seal, while the 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer that had been suspended in midair was as though being pulled stiffly by a cart, before he finally grabbed it. Did you refine this object? At this moment, Lien Wentian was likewise scared out of his wits. He thought that he and his brother, who had been cultivating for more than 100 years, had their strengths reach the peak of perfection. Never did he expect that such an undistinguished middle-aged man could neutralize and capture Lien Wenqin so easily. Who are you? Lien Wentian didn't answer Tang Xiu's question and asked loudly with a face that seemed like he was facing a very formidable enemy. Tang Xiu sealed Lien Bai's acupoints and threw him to the ground like a dead dog. Then he indifferently replied, "Who I am is not important. What more important is, did you or did you not refine this object?" Lien Wentian took a deep breath and said, "We did. We refined it. You members of the Lien family are truly damned. You dare refine this wicked, evil, and sinister ghost device," said Tang Xiu coldly. As his voice fell upon everyone present, Jin Shi, who stood next to Tang Xiu, instantly blitzed and punched Lien Bai lying on the ground, directly killing him. With a seething killing intent, he then glared at Lien Wentian and Lien Wenqin. Lien Wentian's pupils contracted and he roared, "You dare to kill my Lien family's current patriarch? Do you really want to be a mortal enemy with my family?" "Humph, you want to become my enemy relying on your Lien family alone," snorted Tang Xiu coldly. Chapter 9:12, A Perfect Result. Tang Xiu once was able to set foot at the apex of the immortal world and become a supremacy. He naturally wouldn't care about the life and death of several humans. Yet, whether it was in his past or current life, he abhorred the massacre of ordinary people or the outrageous wanton killing of the weak. The devils. It was the title coined for such people in the immortal world. Countless people with a sense of justice would quickly hunt and kill them. The Lien family needed to kill innumerable people just to refine this 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer. He couldn't care less if they did that by killing their enemies. But the situation he just witnessed was seeing them wanting to kill everyone in the entire Green Lake Agricola, torture them, and then devour their souls to ultimately turn them into resentful spirits. This deed was absolutely something the likes of those devils would do. Tang Xiu watched the furious face of Lien Wentian and coldly hummed, "Humph, I want to know something. Are all members of the Lien family involved in refining this ghost device?" "I don't know what ghost device you're talking about," growled Lien Tian angrily. "If you're talking about this 9 fetuses of 100 ghost streamer, I tell you that you only snatched one of them. There are a total of 9 streamers controlled by the 9 strongest members of the Lien family. If you dare to be an enemy of my family, you'll face the wrath of my family's experts." 9. Tang Xiu's pupils contracted and his killing intent skyrocketed instantly. The divine sword instantly appeared in his hand and shot forward like a meteor, directly hacking Lien Wentian into 2 halves as he roared, "Kill all members of the Lien family here." Affirmative. Moo, Jin Shi, Shui Sha, and He Xiong instantly attacked. Their strength was 10 times stronger than that of the Lien family's members. They were simply like tigers that raged over a flock of sheep. Under the horrified gazes of Song Donglai, Ao Wei, and their men, everyone from the Lien family was killed in less than half a minute. Tens of meters away from the scene, behind the window of a building, the hiding place of Boss Huang and Li Chang was tucked away. The former couldn't help but show his hatred when he saw Tang Xiu appear. However, heaven! How is this possible? Boss Huang was violently trembling. He felt as though his heart was bitten by a viper, creating deep fear in his whole being. Never once did he ever dream that the man, his personal enemy who he so aggressively hunted with his men, would turn out to be this terrifying. More so that, among each of the men under him, which one of them was a normal person? They were simply a bunch of killing gods. Li Chang narrowed his eyes. Although he was likewise shocked with the fighting and killings here today, and also shaken by the terrifying strength of Tang Xiu and his men, he never forgot about his mission. After he noticed how frightened Boss Huang was, he immediately grabbed his arm and consoled him in a low voice, "Don't worry, boss. I'll protect you no matter what happens." Boss Huang's lips squirmed a few times and he pressed his voice to reply, "You? Protecting me? Why would you do that? Do you think you can be those killing fiends?" I have a grudge with that murderous punk." Li Chang pretended to be alarmed and frightened, and replied with a trembling voice, What did you say? Do you have a conflict with Tang Xiu? Damn, this is bad, so damn dead. He's a murderous fiend, a devil. Many people know that although he is called by everyone in the country the young divine doctor, he's also known as one who abhors evils like his enemy. Boss, how did you offend him? Young divine doctor? Boss Huang gawked and was stunned. He suddenly slumped to the floor with a look of wanting to cry, though no tears could come out. I'm so dead. It's all over. No wonder I felt that he looked familiar back then. It turns out that he's the young divine doctor Tang Xiu. I'm so damned, goddammit. How the hell did I provoke the big boss of the magnificent Tang Corporation, Tang Xiu? Yet, a medicine to cure regret did not exist to buy in this world. Otherwise, Boss Huang would have been willing to buy such regret reversal medicine even if he had to spend his property. He knew who Tang Xiu was. He had a distant relative who lived in the Shuangqing province who used to have a famous big family in Star City, but his family was eventually destroyed under various forces invited by Tang Xiu. Li Chang himself didn't know such a situation. He just remembered what Tang Xiu had tasked him with. His expression kept fluctuating and he grabbed Boss Huang's hand much stronger as he said sternly, Boss, I already chose to be your underling. I'm not afraid even if he's a lunatic murderous fiend. Even if I have to die today, I'll die in front of you. Boss Huang turned his head with disbelief and saw his firm expression. He suddenly felt warm and touched inwardly. Thanks. That's mean a lot. Things might not have reached the worst, boss. Li Chang shook his head and said, This Green Lake Agricola belongs to my cousin, and you can also see the situation outside. My cousin and those Lians are enemies, while Tang Xiu brought his men to annihilate the latter, right? You also know that the enemy of our enemy is our friend, no? My cousin is there and I'm sure Tang Xiu will give him face. Boss Huang was as though seeing a life-saving straw to clutch onto. He hurriedly grabbed Li Chang's hand and said with a quick breath, Li Chang, young brother Chang. If your older brother can leave here alive, then everything will rely on you. But you can rest assured that I will never forget this kindness. I guarantee that your life will be rich and full of honor when you follow me in the future. Li Chang heavily nodded and said, I naturally choose to follow you, boss. In fact, I already decided to sell you my life. I've done quite well mixing in the world for so many years, yet I've also tasted the ficklenesses of people who have a change in mind and feeling. Nobody cares about me because of my abilities. Even my peers always pushed me out when I worked in several companies before. It was all because of my excellent performances, even causing me to get threatened by my boss's relatives, who then eventually drove me away. It was only you who saw my capability. Not only did you sign the sales contract so I could earn some money for my wife's treatment, but you also let me work in your company. This Li Chang will never forget this kindness and trust. The way Boss Huang looked at Li Chang changed after hearing it. He finally understood why Li Chang refused to abandon him even though the situation was very dangerous. Originally, he thought that it was his value that made Li Chang feel thankful to him, albeit there were many factors involved. However, this young brother turned out to be a passionate and righteous man. Inside the pavilion, Song Donglai and Ao Wei came to Tang's show. With eyes full of joy and excitement, Song Donglai respectfully said, "Thank you, Mr. Tang. You don't need to thank me." Tang Shou shook his head and said, "Those who commit heavy sins are doomed to destruction, to begin with. The Lien family has been using extremely cruel methods to refine the 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer, and it's my duty to neutralize them due to their diabolic deeds. If I found you committing some evil deeds in the future, I'll also be the one who'll kill you personally." "You have a magnanimous and benevolent heart, Mr. Tang," said Song Donglai sincerely. "I'll definitely cast myself away from doing such atrocious and despicable deeds. Yet, I have to say that if you didn't intervene today, I'm afraid that we'd have been killed by those Lien family's experts and completely annihilated. We will forever remember this gratitude. Feel free to call us if you have any need of our assistance in the future." Tang Shou couldn't help but chuckle. He didn't refute him and asked, "Do you know where the Lien family lives?" "Ning City of Haiqing Province," answered Song Donglai. Tang Shou nodded at his answer. He then flipped his hand to take out an ancient scripture containing a cultivation technique and threw it to Song Donglai. "Now tell me. How many of you want to cultivate?" Song Donglai stared blankly, shocked by Tang Shou's action of taking out the manual out of thin air. After he opened and read the manual, however, ecstasy suddenly appeared on his face immediately. No, 2. Tang Shou turned to glance around and asked again, "2 of you all have died?" Only after hearing these words did the ecstatic expression that covered Song Donglai's face recede, replaced with a bit of a pained expression. He then nodded and said, "Gong Quan died and Han Xin, who we invited, might be unable to survive either." Tang Shou's gaze then shifted to Han Xin, whose body was shaking yet never toppled over. He then asked him all of a sudden, "If I give you a chance to survive, would you say goodbye to them?" At this time, Han Sen was drowning in dizziness. But he tried hard to listen to Tang Shou when he was still conscious. He was a man who was both good and evil, and everything he had done always depended on his mood when he conducted himself in society. Hence, he didn't like Tang Shou's benign principal, who tried to never offend anybody. Cough. I only have tomorrow to face. No, nothing I have, in the past. Tang Shou squinted and turned to ask Song Donglai, what does he mean? Brother Han is a rebel, the traitor of his Han family. Song Donglai forced a smile and said, he's always seen as the alien of the family and so was driven out by his family many years ago. Ao Wei told me that he has always been a lone wolf. Tang Shou instantly understood. His figure suddenly flashed and instantly appeared in front of Han Senator. A jade bottle, containing holy healing medicine, appeared in his hand as he poured one pill from the inside, stuffing it into Han Sen's mouth and saying, if I'm not mistaken, your heart has been pierced and your injuries are quite fatal. But I'll give you your life back, though your life belongs to me from now on. Han Sen just sneered in response. He was perfectly aware of what kind of situation he was in at present. Even if Bien Ke reborn, or Hua Tua came back to life, they probably wouldn't be able to save him. Therefore, Tang Shou's statement to him was simply, what? The sneer on his face abruptly froze. The holy healing pill was just stuffed in his mouth for several seconds, but it had turned into a strong current that flowed down his throat and into his chest and stomach, before finally transforming into countless hot streams that swept across his whole body. Now sit cross-legged and circulate your true qi according to your previous cultivation technique, said Tang Xian with a deep voice. Han Sen's body was trembling and he sat cross-legged without hesitation. Tang Shou then looked at Song Donglai and lightly said, since Gong Quan is dead, there are only you and Ao Wei left who need this cultivation technique. But keep my word in mind. Memorize the content of this cultivation technique and immediately burn the manual later. You both can cultivate it, but you are not allowed to pass it to anyone without my permission. Otherwise, I can bestow you your strength, but I also can take it back. I'll contact you if there's something I need you to do in the future. Song Donglai and Ao Wei exchanged glances and the duo respectfully said, please rest assured. We'll never pass it along to anyone. Tang Shou nodded at their promise. He then waved to Shuiyu, who had sprinted down the hill and was now standing tens of meters away. Then he spoke again, the matter here is over, and the enmity between you and the Lians have been solved as well. Cultivate well later since I'm hoping that I can see you become stronger in the future. Mr. Tang, the Lians have lost many men here, even their patriarch and 2 ancestors died, said Song Donglai hesitantly. The enmity and blood feud between us and them has probably gone deeper. I believe that they will soon. Chapter 9:13, The Strange State of the Body. Tang Shou had already given a death sentence to the Lian family in his heart, yet he didn't know anything about this family whatsoever. He quietly thought for a while and then said, if I let you help me investigate the Lian family, can you investigate them thoroughly? Also, how long would it take? Song Donglai and Ao Wei exchanged glances as they faintly felt that Tang Shou seemed to have the intention to get rid of the Lian family. The thoughts made the duo look pleasantly surprised immediately, and Song Donglai was the first to reply, we can compile all the information about the Lian family for you within 3 days. Ao Wei also nodded and said, yes, 3 days are enough. We 3 brothers have been guarding against the Lians the past few years, hence, we've been collecting massive amounts of information about them in secret. It's just that we have yet to figure out and calculate how many forces they are hiding in the dark, that includes their ancestors, whom we haven't figured out yet how many of them are still alive. Tang Shou thought for a moment and said, if so, then I'll give you 3 days. I want detailed information about the Lian family within 3 days. Keep in mind that the more detailed the information you give me, the more thorough the members of this family will be eradicated. You're all enemies with them, and I don't think you also want to have worries left behind, right? Consider it done, replied Song Donglai with a deep voice. Tang Shou nodded and prepared to leave, but he suddenly remembered something and said, there's one more thing. I need you to play my script. I need Boss Huang to trust Li Chang completely, he even must regard Li Chang as his benefactor and trusted confidant. Please tell us, how would you like us to help? Asked Song Donglai with a strange expression. I'm going to scare him, and you'll follow the act according to the circumstances, said Tang Shou smilingly. All right. Although Song Donglai wanted to seize the time to use the blood python array to have a breakthrough in his cultivation, he still complied to Tang Shou's request. Tang Shou then turned around. He looked at the direction where Li Chang and Boss Huang were hiding and shouted, hey, you, Meatball Huang. Drill out of your hole at once if you're still alive, otherwise, I'll shred you to pieces. In a certain spot in the distance. Boss Huang was trembling violently. Never did he expect that Tang Shou would harbor such a grudge and be vengeful. He even knew that he was hiding in this spot. He instantly grabbed Li Chang's hand and pleaded, Brother Chang, please ask your cousin to save me. You all will be my greatest benefactor for the rest of my life as long as you can save me. Li Chang couldn't help but laugh inwardly, yet he still maintained his facial expression and said, I'll naturally save you since you see me as a brother, boss. I always subscribe to the notion that brothers must help each other in braving dangers, even at the cost of their lives. But, are we really going to go out? What if we don't go out now, you say, blurted Boss Huang bitterly. If we don't go out on our own initiative, I'm afraid we won't have any chance of living once they find us. After saying that, he slowly headed out of the corner. When he appeared in Tang Shou's line of sight, he ran over with a deep fear on his face, bowing unctuously and speaking with an obsequious smile and manner, "Be brother. Brother Tang, I'm Huang Bingren, whom you have packed up into submission." Well, I didn't know who you were before, so I spoke discourteously in front of you. Please forgive my ignorance with your magnanimous heart. Tang Shou was secretly laughing inside, yet he maintained his frosty face on the surface and coldly said, "So, you gotta chill after you figured out who I am, huh? You dragged those gangsters of yours and tracked me here for revenge against me, didn't you?" Boss Huang was short on breath and he gasped as he replied, "No, no, no. I really didn't have any thoughts to retaliate, absolutely. We're here to help Boss Song deal with his enemies, no less. Isn't that right, Boss Song?" Upon hearing his remarks, Li Chang quickly caught the role, "Cousin, you gotta say some good words about my boss. We really came here to help you, after all." Song Donglai looked hesitant. He let out a dry smile and said, "Mr. Tang, about this, they did come to help me. It's just that I didn't expect the Lian family to come with so many powerful enemies and eventually kill all of Boss Wang's men, except that scar-faced man." Tang Shou's facial expression eased a lot, but he still sternly replied, "Those who have offended me deserve their deaths. Even if you don't come knocking to find me for revenge, I'll still have to kill you since I bumped into you now. But you can rest your worries, I'm sure that there's someone who'll burn paper money for your departure day next year." Bam. Boss Huang's expression was grim as he instantly knelt on the ground, anxiously begging, "Brother Tang. Ancestor Tang, please forgive and spare me. I have an 80-year-old mother. And I also have an unmarried daughter. Please have mercy and spare my lowly life. I promise I'll absolutely treat you as a bodhisattva in the future. I'll brave through fire and storm no matter what you request of me. You still deserve your death." Tang Shou raised his long sword and put on a pose to chop down. Li Chang instantly rushed to the front of Boss Huang to stop him and hurriedly pleaded, "Your Honor, Mr. Tang, please have mercy and forgive my boss. He's really a good person, he was just blinded because he wanted to save face. He didn't know your identity before, so he had offended you without him realizing. Please have a look at my cousin's face and forgive him this time, otherwise, you can kill us both here." Song Donglai's expression enormously altered as he dashed to Li Chang's front and slapped his face, yelling angrily, "What the fucking hell are you talking about?" After saying that, he turned to look at Tang Shou, letting out an obsequious smile and saying, "Mr. Tang, this younger cousin of mine is still too young and ignorant, please ignore and forgive him. Also, about this, could you please spare and not punish them severely on the account of my face?" Tang Shou sneered, "I should give you face properly speaking, but Mr. Tang, young Chang is my closest cousin. My aunt will definitely be very grieved if he's gone," said Song Donglai with a resolute voice, 10 million. "I'll take out 10 million to save his life." Me too," interjected Boss Huang rapidly. I'll also take out 10 million for my life." Tang Shou squinted and coldly snorted, "Humph. Do you think I give a damn about a meager 20 million? Snort, not to mention 20 million, I won't even spare a glance at 200 million. However, you truly have a good cousin here. He's worth befriending given his attitude to save his boss even at the cost of his life. Alright, I'll drop this matter on the account of his face." Boss Huang was so glad that a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. He kowed out to Tang Shou thrice and thanked him, "Thank you, Mr. Tang. Thank you for not killing me. You're my idol in my heart now. I'll never have the slightest disrespect towards you again in the future." Tang Shou rolled his eyes at his vow and lightly said, "I won't kill you, but you cannot escape from your capital crime. You've brought many people to their deaths here this time, so you will compensate their families as their pension, 10 million yuan each. Keep in mind, do well to get along together with this little brother of yours, or I won't mind castrating your manhood, before butchering you and feeding you to the dogs. Yes, yes, yes. Cold sweat drenched Boss Juan's wet while he nodded his head repeatedly like a pecking chicken. A short while later, Tang Xiu left the Green Lake Agricola. After the Mercedes-Benz SUV passed through the gate, he immediately told Mo Au to book a plane ticket to Ning City in Haiqing Province. As he sat in the back seat, Tang Xiu held the 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer and observed it. He then found that the streamer had more than 450 souls. Nearly half of them had been refined and turned into vengeful spirits with no consciousness left. He wouldn't be able to help these vengeful spirits to recover. Not even a perfected golden immortal would be able to do so unless he himself could become a supremacy just like back when he was in the immortal world. There was also something else. The refinement of this 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer was very rough. Although there was a double layer of arrays inside it, they were just low-rank arrays and he was able to grasp them thoroughly after slightly studying it. Dust returns to dust, and unto the earth shall you return from the soil you have originated from. For all the sins of your past, and into reincarnation, you shall rebirth for your retribution and be born anew to do new things in your next life. It's all the 6th path of the wheel of samsara and the cycle of karma. I was fated to encounter this matter today, and it's inevitable that I can't stand idly by. Go and enter your reincarnation earlier. I hope good fortune will be bestowed upon you all in your next life. Tang Xiu pinched his fingers and a wisp of dark heaven and earth energy condensed at his fingertips. In a flash moment, hundreds of souls swarmed towards the wisp of energy. Just before they were sucked inside by that energy, all the souls turned around and kowtowed to Tang Xiu. The rest of the vengeful spirits. Tang Xiu was contemplating for a while before he finally decided to let them back to the world where they belonged to. The origin of their karma had come to an end. There was no need for them to be trapped inside the 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer anymore. Neither did they have to stay in this world as vengeful spirits in the human world and harm others. Just as he pulled out around 200 vengeful spirits inside the streamer, his body suddenly trembled while countless planets inside his dantian sent out a very strong vibration. One of the most obvious was the planet the size of the table tennis ball. Not only did it send out a strong sucking force, but it also directly absorbed these vengeful spirits into Tang Xiu's dantian and completely swallowed them. Buzz. Tang Xiu could clearly see that the planet, which was originally only the size of a table tennis ball, turned bigger, twice its previous size. The vibration lasted only a few seconds before everything returned to normal again. What exactly happened? Tang Xiu watched his hands turn completely dim. The 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer had become the source of all mundane things in this planet. He observed the planet inside his dantian and only sobered up from his shock after a long while. Shuiyu, who sat next to Tang Xiu, looked at him with a tongue-tied expression. After a short while, she couldn't help but grab his hand and ask with a worried face, Are you all right? Tang Xiu turned his head. He could see the worried expression on her face and answered, I'm fine. Shuiyu still didn't feel at ease and said again, I just saw countless black smoke seep into your body. I thought something from the 9 seed of a 100 ghost streamer was harmful. I'm really relieved that you're fine. To tell the truth, I don't really know what just happened to me either, said Tang Xiu bitterly. I just pulled out those vengeful spirits from the 9 fetuses of a 100 ghost streamer, yet they suddenly penetrated my body. I even feel that I'm stronger after devouring their resentment. Those vengeful spirits didn't have consciousness, only resentment, yet it's like their resentment was a strong tonic, a miraculous elixir in the eyes of cultivators. You devoured them. Shuiyu was dumbstruck. She was frightened by Tang Xiu's explanation. Chapter 9:14, Greeting Honored Guests. Green Lake Agricola. Boss Huang got up from the ground and looked at Song Donglai full of gratitude as he expressed his thanks. Boss Song, thank you for helping me today. I'll always bear this huge benevolence in my heart. Feel free to call me whenever you have any need of my assistance in the future. As long as it is within my capability, I'll never balk, even if I must cross a mountain of fire and sword. Yet, Song Donglai gave him a cold shoulder. He shook his head and said, "You don't have to thank me. I didn't even think that Tang Xiu would give me face actually. Of course, the main reason was because of my cousin since I think Tang Xiu appreciates him very much. If you want to thank someone, thank him." Li Chong quickly waved and said, "No, cousin. Boss Huang regards me as his brother. I naturally treat him like a respectable big brother, no less. There's no need to thank me either." Boss Huang felt warm inside. He stretched his arms to hug Li Chang and patted his back, saying, "Brother Chang, I absolutely will never forget this grace. From now henceforth, you're the sales manager of my company. Let us brothers share the joys and sorrows later." He was not a man without a brain. Firstly, it was needless to say that Li Chang did save his life today. Just his identity as Song Donglai's cousin was already enough to see him as a man to be reckoned with. Who was Song Donglai? Although this man couldn't compare with Tang Xiu, he was also someone powerful, yet concealed himself deeply. Which one of his men was not an expert martial artist from the martial art community? The man himself was heaven-defyingly powerful. For him, being able to make a relationship with such a powerful man through Li Chang would be a great advantage for him in the future, if he was able to forge a good relationship with him. Song Donglai nodded with satisfaction and said, "Thank you for taking good care of my younger cousin, Boss Huang. Please continue doing that in the future. Also, you mustn't forget what Mr. Tang has told you, otherwise, if he were to send someone to investigate you and find that you didn't heed to his demand, I'm afraid that you would face a very severe consequence." "Sure, I will. I absolutely won't forget it." Boss Huang hurriedly nodded. Song Donglai then waved and said, "All right. Keep everything that happened here today to yourself. You must never disclose it even if you are drunk or dreaming. Otherwise, you don't need Mr. Tang to act, for I will never spare you myself either." "Yes, yes, yes." Boss Huang and the surviving scar-faced man nodded as hard as they could. What happened today was beyond their cognition to begin with. Even if they had 100x more courage, they would never dare to disclose it, ever. And yet, he had a bit of a headache. More than 20 of his men died. Taking out 10 million yuan compensation for each person was not an issue to him, but how could he explain it to their families? Li Chang seemed to have seen his thoughts and said in a pressed voice, "Boss, we can say that they got a traffic accident together. You can even fabricate the scene of the accident with their cars exploded, then burn down and cremate their bodies." Boss Huang's eyes lit up. He raised his thumb and praised Li Chang, "That's a great idea. You truly are my good luck, young Chang. I'm completely relieved that I'll have you with me in the future. Do your job well. So long as your performance is excellent, I'll give you the Deputy General Manager position of my company to you." N. Li Chang intentionally put on a pleasantly surprised look and nodded repeatedly. Half an hour later, Boss Huang had quietly transported more than 20 of his men's dead bodies outside. Song Donglai, in fear that something would go wrong, also sent some of his men to help him. By the lake. Song Donglai and Ao Wei were sitting cross-legged, facing the waving sparkling surface of the lake, while the fatally injured Kruer python was lying on the shore of the lake. It was still breathing, though without vigor, as it stared at Ao Wei, eyes expressing its hope to continue living. Ao Wei took out a porcelain bottle from his sleeve. He pulled out the cork to pour out a red pill from the inside before throwing it into the Kruer python's mouth. The beast immediately swallowed it into its stomach. Shortly after, its body suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist that shrouded Ao Wei and Song Donglai 2 meters away. Let's stimulate it now. The duo exchanged glances and stimulated all the important acupoints all over their body without a shred of hesitation. The blood mist that covered several meters of area in the surroundings didn't drift with the wind, but constantly swirled and welled up towards them. Haiqing Province. Ning City was its capital city and the best city in the province, having the fastest development and growth economically. A lot of skyscrapers now decorated the city, along with a countless number of commercial establishments. All were connected with wide roads that outlined and extended in all directions. Southern Municipality. The manor of the Miao family covered more than 10 acres of land here. It was the place regarded by most of the Ning City locals as the most mysterious place. Its front gate was always tightly shut, overrun with guards who had strict discipline. The Miaos were the first family in Ning City and had a deep heritage and many offspring. On the northern side of the place was a small artificial lake with a 3-story European-style villa building. Inside the study on the second floor, Miao Wentong was now focusing on reading a stack of documents in front of him. 4.8 billion yuan. Satisfaction revealed itself on his face after he saw the final summary of the number. Business was doing unusually well this year. The group under his family turned out to earn a total gross revenue of 4.8 billion in half a month, much to his satisfaction. How was it, big brother? An aging woman, yet still looking beautiful and retaining her graceful charm, sat across Miao Wentong and asked with a smile after seeing his expression. We're doing great, Fengling, replied Miao Wentong with satisfaction. Our family's business is getting bigger and better. I'm afraid that the pressure will be much greater in the future as well. You must have boldness and courage to shoulder it. Just tell me if you feel overwhelmed. I'll assign more people to help you. Miao Fengling shook her head and smilingly said, no need. I already have many assistants that can help me. Anyway, there's an internal purchase issue in Star City, so what's your decision regarding this issue? The Magnificent Tang Corporation and the Long Group have begun to move. Miao Wentong ruminated for a while before he shook his head and said, if those two want to buy it, then let them. Besides, it's already our good fortune, since we are kind of boarding other trains and obtained the rights to cooperate for the new city project. I've discussed this issue with some other shareholders, who likewise made the same decision. That's quite unfortunate, though, commented Miao Fengling with a regretful expression. That new city development and construction project is a gold mine. It will definitely become the largest and most prosperous city in the Shuangqing province with many inhabitants, and quite resourceful people living there. It's truly regretful if we waste this kind of great opportunity. What are you feeling pity for, though? Miao Wentong smiled again and said, the new city development project just entered the first phase. We'll still have the second, third and fourth phase that will be issued later in the future. We won't take part in this phase, but it doesn't mean we won't later. We'll have a long time to make money as long as we keep relying on the Magnificent Tang Corporation and the Long Group in the future. True that. Miao Fengling nodded and said, but I really want to meet Kong Xia, the general manager of the Magnificent Tang Corporation. That woman is truly capable and amazing. I don't think so. The really capable and amazing one is not her, but her boss, Tang Xiu. Miao Wenong shook his head and continued, I'm not saying that Kong Xia is not capable. She's great, of course. Besides, her feat for being able to capture Tang Xiu's heart is already a heaven-defying ability, in and of itself. I know Tang Xiu is a very capable and resourceful second brother. But how can I meet such a high-ranking great personage myself? Miao Fengling couldn't help but laugh. Ring, ring, ring. Miao Wentong's phone on the table rang. After he picked it up and saw the screen, a strange expression crept up on his face as he muttered, sometimes I feel like that we must not talk about this person at all. Speaking about the devil, and the devil himself is now calling me. Anyway, I'm gonna pick up Tang Xiu's call now. Having said that, He pressed the answer button and chuckled as he spoke. Hey, brother Tang, how come you remembered to call me? Well, there's something I need to deal with in Ning City, brother Miao, answered Tang Xiu. Are you in Ning City currently? If you are, how about having a drink? Miao Wentong abruptly got up and excitedly exclaimed, You're coming to Ning City? That's great. Where are you? I'll catch up right away. I just got off the plane, still at the airport, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Wait for me there. I'll hurry over, said Miao Wentong without thinking. Just tell me your place's address, brother Miao, said Tang Xiu. I'm heading there directly, so we can save time. Miao Wentong thought for a moment before he nodded and said, If so, then head to the Miao family manor in the southern municipality of Ning City. If you take a taxi, just tell the chauffeur directly about it. Only a few locals of Ning City don't know where my family's manor is. Got it. Wait for me there, said Tang Xiu with a smile. Miao Wentong hung up the phone and looked up to see his sister, Miao Fengling, and said excitedly, Tang Xiu has come to Ning City. Fengling. Immediately prepare everything and clean up our manor's best guest room. You'll also come with me to greet him later at the gate. Miao Fengling hurriedly complied and set out right away. Half an hour later, Miao Wentong led Miao Fengling and all the core members of the Miao family who were in the manor to the villa's gate. All the 6 security guards, who were on guard duty at the gate of the manor, were shocked. While all the high-ranking members of the Miaos didn't pay them attention, the security guards spoke to each other in whispers. Any of you know what's happening? How come the family is kinda in a rush and so anxious today? Not only have most of the top members come out, but even the patriarch is also coming outside. They seem to be waiting for some big shot's arrival. I'm afraid some major event is going to happen to our Miao family. Who could the bigwigs possibly be? To think that they deserve our patriarch coming out and greeting them personally? You guys also note that the family is unlikely to mobilize so many experts even if the top officials of the Haiqing province came here, right? Well, we'll know about it later, regardless. The time ticked by and 10 minutes had passed. Yet, Miao Wentong and the rest of Miao family's members didn't look impatient at all. Some of the other high-ranking members who just came from the outside even hurriedly joined in the waiting. It was a situation that gave another wave of shock to the Miao family's security guards. How long will it take Tang Xiu to arrive here, big brother? Asked Miao Fengling, who stood next to Miao Wentong, in a low voice. Around 50 minutes, answered Miao Wentong. It's been 40 minutes, so he should be coming soon. Chapter 9:15, A Mountain with 2 Tigers. On the wide and flat road, 2 taxis were heading fast towards the Miao family manor. The taxi in front was driven by a chubby driver. He glanced at the rearview mirror to see Tang Xiu and Shuiyi sitting in the back seat. He then turned off the music in the car and let out a dry smile as he said, We'll soon arrive at the road outside the Miao family's manor, so I'm going to drop you at the intersection. You just need to walk about a kilometer to get to the gate of the Miao family's manor. Tang Xiu raised his brows and said, Just drive us directly to the Miao family's manor. It's not that I don't want to drop you there, little brother, said the fat driver with a bitter smile. It's just the road outside the Miao family's manor is impassable for outsiders. Everyone in Ning City who's still sane knows about this. Why does it sound like the Miao family is some kind of brigand that occupies the road and doesn't allow anyone to pass through it? Asked Tang Xiu with a weird expression. No. The Miaos in Ning City are not bandits, sighed the fat driver while shaking his head. The family is a very famous philanthropist family. It's just that this road belongs to them since they built it and they are the only ones living in the vicinity. Nobody else lives there. Certainly, it was also because of some other matters many years ago. The revelation piqued Tang Xiu's curiosity and he asked, A matter in the past? Can you tell me about it? About this, the fat driver hesitated. Mo, who sat in the front seat, took out a few 100 yuan bills and placed them on the dashboard. My boss told you to speak, now tell the story. The chubby driver was inwardly shaken and smilingly narrated, it wasn't a big deal actually. It's just that the Miao family was robbed many years ago. I remember the news that some thieves stole a very precious heirloom of the Miaos that had been passed down for generations, thus, their whole residence was installed with surveillance instruments, along with many security guards posted around the vicinity. That is why people gradually avoid passing the road built by them. Tang Xiu quickly understood and smilingly said, I see. Then, uncle, just directly drop us at the gate of the Miao family's manor. It's fine, I assure you. Little brother, please don't harm me, all right, said the fat driver helplessly. There was an incident when someone drove down that road. He's just like me, a cab driver, too. But he got smacked by those security guards. Although the Miao family did give him compensation for his medical and supplement expenses, though you didn't speak it out loud, if those Miao's security guards dare to do something to you, I'll be the one smashing the door of their houses, regardless, said Tang Xiu with a chuckle. I'm just kidding you, though. I'm a friend of Miao Wendong actually, and he knows that I'm coming over to his place. I phoned him before and told him that I'd take a cab to his family's manor. Don't make fun of me, little brother, said the fat driver with a bitter smile. Miao Wendong is the head of the Miao family and is also the big boss of Miao Group, the person with the highest status in the family. You and he are, well, please don't misunderstand me, little brother. I don't mean to despise you or anything. Giving you a ride and dropping you at the gate of the Miao family's manor is not a funny joke. Please spare me and don't put me in a difficult situation. Tang Xiu raised his brows yet again. Moo, who was looking towards the back seat, noticed Tang Xiu's expression. He instantly pulled out his dagger and placed it on the fat driver's neck. He coldly said, my boss told you to drive there, so you're going to go there else. It won't be the Miao family's security guard who's gonna kill you, but me instead. The chubby driver was trembling. He hurriedly nodded and said, yes, could you please put away the knife? I'll do as you say and go there. Moo snorted and put the dagger away. The chubby driver glanced at Tang Xiu through the rearview mirror again, yet harbored his disdain inwardly. Although he knew that this young man brought several bodyguards with him this time, what kind of existence was the Miao family? They were literally the largest and strongest house in the Haiqing province. Tang Xiu was nothing but a young man, how big of a face does he think he has? Shortly after, he communicated with the driver of the taxi behind him through the intercom and drove the car into the west road from the east, straight to the Miao family's gate. As he drove about a kilometer ahead, the chubby driver suddenly looked astonished. He might have never seen most of the top members of the Miaos, but he had seen Miao Wendong on TV and in the newspaper numerous times. This is so strange. Did my eyes fail and I'm just seeing things? How come I see the Miao's head, Miao Wendong, there? Why is he standing at the gate? Why does it seem like he's going to greet someone important? The fat driver subconsciously turned his head to glance at Tang Xiu and was secretly shocked inside. Don't tell me the Miao family's patriarch, Miao Wendong, and those people beside him are going to greet my passengers? Creak. The taxi then stopped at the gate of the Miao family's residence. Miao Wendong, who had been waiting for a long time, strode over to the first taxi and quickly opened the rear seat's door. He slightly gawked after seeing a breathtaking beauty inside before he immediately bowed as he looked at the woman, and said with a beaming smile and voice, "You truly just scared me, Brother Tang. I thought I just greeted the wrong person, you know." After Shuiyu got off, Tang Xiu also came out the other side. He smiled and looked at Miao Wendong, then walked around to the front of the cab and gave him a big hug. He smiled and said, "Brother Miao, you may not know anyone else, but you should know about Shuiyu, right?" "Certainly. But you're truly blessed, Brother Tang," replied Miao Wendong with a smile. Miss Shui is literally a stunning beauty. I'd be blind if I said I didn't recognize her. Miss Shui, no, it's incorrect. I should call you sister-in-law, my younger brother's wife. Shui Yu nodded and smiled in response to his words. Tang Xiu then looked at dozens of meters away, towards the more than 10 members of the Miao family at the gate. He let out a wry smile and said, Brother Miao, had I known earlier that you'd prepare such a big parade here, I definitely would not have called you in advance. We are brothers, no need for such a big show. You can't blame me, though. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for having a very resounding reputation, Brother Tang, rebuked Miao Wendong with an exceptionally bright smile. That's what made the rest of my family members so eager to see you, a rumored great personage. I just told my younger sis to clean up the guest room. Who would have thought that everyone else also rushed over after they heard that you'd be coming over? Tang Xiu only shook his head with a smile in response. He suddenly recalled something and glanced at the driver's seat. The fat driver now looked so dumbstruck and shocked, as Tang Xiu then said with a smile, Brother Miao, I gotta tell you something. The cab driver didn't allow us to be dropped off by the entrance of your family's residence. We got here because Mo Ob put his dagger on his neck, so he had no choice in doing so. You gotta tell your security guards not to beat people too. Miao Wendong blanked before he immediately let out a wry smile and said, Since when did my family's residence turn so ominous for outsiders, that not even cab drivers dare to come here? This is really shameful. I'm really embarrassed and have lost a lot of face before you, Brother Tang. Rest assured, I'll definitely tell them. Tang Xiu gave a wee smile and then looked at the fat driver and said, Uncle, what we did was a bit excessive, so please forgive us. The fat driver violently shuddered. He shook his head so fast like rattling a drum and hastily said, No, 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 there's no need. You're an honored guest of the Miao family, so you're also a very distinguished guest of our Ning city. I cannot take your money. Having said that, he turned his head to the dashboard, wanting to return the money. You deserve it, uncle, said Tang Xiu smilingly as he continued, All right, we've already arrived, so you can go tend to your work again. Meanwhile, many security guards of the Miao house that were crowded together were so shocked that they were unable to utter any sound when they saw the Miao family's patriarch personally open the car door for Tang Xiu. They then saw the exchanges between him and Tang Xiu. It was obvious that the patriarch showed his goodwill to the guest. No, it should be said that he was trying to flatter him. As they gradually came back to their senses, the bunch of men broke into whispers. To think that he has such face that he can even make the family head open the door for him personally. Who exactly is he? Who is this great personage? He looks so young, but why do I feel that he's a bit familiar? The background of this distinguished guest should be very amazing, definitely. Shortly after, Tang Xiu was now acquainted with the core members of the Miao family through Miao Wentang's introductions. He then entered the Miao family's manor under their great hospitality. Brother Tang, I just observed your men. How come one of them looks like he's injured? Asked Miao Wendong to Tang Xiu with a lowered voice as they walked side by side. That's the one I just recruited. He's indeed injured, answered Tang Xiu with a smile. What exactly happened? Asked Miao Wendong quizzically. I visited Ning City this time due to some important matters. His injury relates to the purpose of my visit as well, explained Tang Xiu with a smile. All right, let's go ahead and talk more. Miao Wendong immediately nodded. There were a few villas built around the main manor, in which the most distinguished guests of the Miao family usually stayed. Miao Wendong, Miao Fengling, Tang Xiu, and Shui Yu were now sitting in the living room on the second floor of the manor. They were waited on by attendants that delivered pastries, fruits, and fragrant tea. Can you tell me what happened, Brother Tang? Asked Miao Wendong with a smile. Tang Xiu didn't recall that he'd said that he would speak about the purpose of his coming, but asked instead, Brother Miao, as far as I know, the Lian family of the occult sect also lives in Ning City, right? Miao Wentong's countenance changed as he nodded and replied, "That's right, the Lian family of the occult sect is indeed in Ning City." "Don't tell me your visit here is related to them?" "It's not related to them, it's because they were the one who came over," said Tang Xiu. "Brother Miao, we're people on the same side, so I won't conceal or beat around the bush. There's something I want to ask you, how much do you know about the Lian family?" Miao Wentong thought for a while before he answered. The Lian family is a large family in Ning City with a very deep background and heritage. Truth be told, my family may be known as the first family of Haiqing province, yet if both sides are to be compared, we are still quite distant from them, especially in the heritage aspect. The Lians have been operating in Ning City for centuries, which is a fact that outsiders are unaware of. However, I'm well aware that something is very strange with the Lian family, making it so I don't even want to provoke them. "So, it's like a mountain that houses two tigers," commented Tang Xiu with squinted eyes. "I know what you mean. This is why I also feel something is weird," sighed Miao Wentong. "Properly speaking, my family is very powerful in Ning City and we should not coexist with another powerful family like the Lians here. Yet, it's a fact that it has been happening for centuries here. We still coexist and have a good relationship, and none are hostile to each other."